Welcome back to another episode of The Athlete's Mindset. Today's guest is someone who embodies resilience, leadership, and a true love for the game. Kyle Perry, a left-handed pitcher from Omaha, Nebraska. Kyle played his college ball at the University of Nebraska, where he made a name for himself not only in the mound, but as a strong leader in the clubhouse. While at Nebraska, he faced his fair share of adversity, including some tough injuries, but continued to push forward with a relentless mindset. Now, Kyle brings his energy and passion to one of the most entertaining teams in all of baseball, the Savannah Bananas, where he gets to showcase both his arm and his personality. In this episode, we talk about his time as a Husker, how he mentally battled through injury setbacks, and what it's like to pitch in front of sold-out crowds in the wild world of Bananaball. This is going to be a fun one. Let's get into it. Kyle, welcome to the podcast. How are you, man?
Thanks for having me, Tristan. I'm doing
Yes.
great, dude. How are you?
I'm great. So you're down in Savannah now, just living life, playing Bananaball. How's life going?
It's great, dude. The weather down here is terrific. We got more measurable snow than Nebraska did up before the last blizzard you guys had.
Yeah,
Um, so that was crazy to have that feather in my cap down here. It
yeah,
was ridiculous. It started out with a bunch of sleet, and then it started pouring snow down on us, and that was before Nebraska had gotten anything uh measurable. So, but you guys have had two since then, I think now. So
yeah, yeah.
so
That's
it's
so
starting to even
crazy.
yeah, it's been wild, but the weather for the most part's been great. And the days where it's a little windy, a little chilly, I just think back of how many games we've sat through where your
Mhm.
ears, your nose, your fingertips are numb by the second inning. So, you
Yeah,
know,
definitely. Home games in Nebraska in early March aren't always the funnest.
you're
Um,
right. Yeah.
yeah. So getting back to that, I want to start out by just talking about your time at Nebraska, just kind of your leadership and also just like your mentality while you were there. But to start, what was kind of the reason you chose Nebraska?
Well, Tristan, I mean, your brother, he was committed what after his freshman year?
Yeah.
So Nebraska was obviously on everybody's radar since Colby had committed so early. And obviously being in the same graduating class as him, everybody knew your brother, knew him from middle school. Everybody knows Colby. And so when he committed there, that kind of put Nebraska like,
Mhm.
in the head. And when he committed, I was nowhere near thinking about going to play college baseball or what level I'd be playing at. Because I remember I made my first recruiting profile like beginning of sophomore year
Yeah.
with whatever recruiting profile is like. It wasn't like
Mhm.
it was one of those apps you find on the app store, and you're just like, all right, let's put to it here. And so I remember I was like, I'm looking. I think I want to pitch and play outfield at ideally Division 1, maybe Division 2, and like JUCO, like just give me a spot,
Mhm.
like that was kind of where I was
Yeah.
thinking at the next level. So, but then after a strong sophomore year, Ted Silva and Erstad got hold, and in October of 2016, in the fall of our sophomore years, I committed. Um, but it was cool because I knew Colby was going, and
Mhm.
then at that point, Drew Gillen, my best friend from high school, he was in talks with Ted Silva too, and it was looking like they were going to offer him as well. So I think it was a no brainer
Mhm.
at that point to go ahead and commit to Nebraska. And I mean, dude, I don't know if you attended any of Colby's
Mhm.
visits but like going into Erstad's office and seeing his World Series ring, and he's got a bunch of hardware on his shelves and stuff. And then he was so humble to be like, "Oh, this isn't me, guys. Like my assistants make me put this stuff up
Yeah.
for show." And you're just like, "You kidding me? Who wouldn't want to play for a guy like this,
Mhm.
who was a 1-1 talent?" He played 13 years in the league, was a multi-time All-Star, and he's got all these accolades, and everybody
Mhm.
knows him. His forearms are as big as my freaking thighs at the time, and
Yeah.
and so that was a no-brainer. I remember he offered in the office, and I looked at my mom and dad. I'm like, "How do you say no?" And
Yeah.
so it was just like that. Or I was like, "It's that easy." Like did you not even go sleep on it? Like, so no, it wasn't. I think
Yeah.
Colby had a similar situation. I know his offer was a lot prettier, but I know that that was a tough opportunity for him to turn down, and
Mhm.
so for a lot of us in-state guys, that was kind of a no-brainer. So
Yeah.
long story, long story long there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, just going with that, what kind of was your mindset going in as a freshman? You show up, um, you guys have a great freshman class, so you guys are kind of all dudes just showing up there. What was kind of your mindset on like how am I going to set myself apart um, once you showed up?
It wasn't a matter of how to set myself apart. It's how similar to Nate Fisher can I be?
Yeah.
That was more so the thing. So I tried to make myself into a hybrid of Nate Fisher and Matt Waldron, which are two great guys to try to
Yeah.
model yourself after, but at the same time impossible uh, to reciprocate.
Mhm.
So um, because Matt has unbelievable big league feel. Obviously, the guy develops his knuckleball in the pros and takes it all the way to the big leagues. I mean, you can't teach that.
Yeah.
And then Fisher, he was working at First National in Omaha, and then next thing you know, he's pitching, in the big leagues with Lindor and Alonso at
Mhm.
City Field. Like so those things can't be reciprocated, but
Yeah.
those were at the time my two guys that I was like, I need to mold myself into what these guys are. So that was kind of my mentality when I first showed up. Because knowing those guys, who wouldn't want to be like those two?
Yeah.
But that really, like a 18-year-old me, that's where my head was after watching those guys in the bullpen and spending a fall with them and seeing how their teammates gravitated towards them and how they could simply just lead by their actions and but at the same time Fisher had that vocal presence and that and that's kind of what I strive to be or strive to be in
Mhm.
college was a Nate Fisher kind of guy, and like I said, it's impossible to do, but
Yeah.
that was my role model. So freshman year the approach was like, all right, how can I be like Matt and Fish
Mhm.
and get the coaches to like me as a pitcher because those guys are obviously doing the right thing. So
Yeah. Definitely.
and so just and then trying to carve out what myself is going to be on the team, and so which just so many unsureties. You don't know how your freshman year is going to pan out, and for so many other guys, I mean, freshman year stories are hilarious because
Mhm.
you look back in hindsight and you see that person how they've developed and who they've become
Mhm.
and it's just like you look at that freshman year, and I feel like it's a vital time, kind of where you face some adversity and you figure out how to grow up just a little bit more than you did the year before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I went to California, I had just felt like a fish out of water. I show
Yeah,
up and there's some dudes there, like guys that are, on the draft boards and stuff. And I'm like, oh, wow, like these guys are really good. How am I going to compare to them? But definitely, I think just finding that kind of older guy or someone that just sets a good example of how to be a leader and how to just guide the younger guys makes you almost probably the same for you as you get to, your final few years there and you're like, huh, how can I make an impact on these younger guys and get them ready for, when they are seniors? How can they impact the guys younger than them? So, can you talk a little bit about that and just what was your mindset when it came to being a leader and just hoping to or working to get the best out of your teammates?
dude. Yeah, I think you kind of touched on it there. Like I feel like a real say I were to go out and have an All-American um, freshman year, like right, and then I go on and become a sixth year senior. Those are two crazy ends of the
Yeah.
spectrum there, right? And I didn't have an All American year my freshman year. So I feel like that, and I'm not even like your brother was a freshman All American. Everybody knows that. Um, but like, say I would have had a lot more success my freshman year and then get to, be a sixth year, maybe I would probably be the bitter old man that's
Yeah.
24 still in college. Like, who knows? Um, but that's not who I was as a 24-year-old in college. Um, so I feel like having a rocky road my freshman year kind of helped me empathize down the road. And obviously, I didn't know at the time I was going to be a 24-year-old
Mhm.
college ball player, but as a freshman, I think those adversities, those tough times, and the inconsistency on the mound, struggling to throw strikes at times and really getting exposed. Um, really helped me have empathy for the kids I was just on a team with last year who were more talented than I will ever be with an arm. They have more expectations than I ever had, and here they are rolling in a really tough time in college now, where being a freshman, you're
Mhm.
yards behind the eight ball, right? Because you might be battling and competing with a fifth year, sixth year senior who is just there for whatever reason, because maybe you had a surgery mixed in and then COVID and then transfer rules, all this. I don't even freaking know
Yeah.
all the things that come into play. But like that's their reality, right? And I wasn't in that boat. Um and so I feel like it helped me gain a lot of empathy for those guys and the situations that they were put in, and then being in college at such a difficult time to be a ball player. So those things, I feel like the adversities I faced really helped me out, and I never really thought of myself like, oh, I'm the leader, I'm the leader of the ship. That's never how I ever visioned it. But when it came to connecting with my teammates and understanding where they were, I feel like I had a really good grasp on where they were coming from at the most times. So it's,
Yeah.
that's how I'd put it.
Yeah. I mean, I also know exactly what you're saying. I don't know if you always were like, I'm the leader, I'm the captain. You guys got to listen to me. I feel like you were just, like you said, is someone that people could connect with, or, if they were struggling, like, you're a guy that's like, all right, how can we deal with this? How are we going to get out of this? And I think that's almost what makes a better leader than someone who's just, telling people what to do. And people are like, oh, yeah, we just listen to that guy because, he throws hard. He's good.
Right, right.
I think it's so much easier to respect someone who, one, has gone through it, like you said, and then also is always trying to bring the most out of everyone around them. And so I think that's exactly what I would say about you. And you kind of going along with this is you were a great teammate, someone who always uplifted everyone, and just a nice guy. And then for some reason, when you got on the mound, you just flipped a switch. Can you talk about just kind of what your mentality was when you got on the bump and um, started actually competing?
Yeah, dude, when I was feeling my best, I would feel like, I mean, looking back and seeing like how I would, prepare myself for those games, like I would just be pissed, man. And there's like no way around. I don't know why. Like I remember after my first surgery, like I came back really early off of that first surgery, and I think a lot of it might have been freshman year and just how that year panned out, and knowing how one bad outing could lead to another, and like that bad taste in your mouth, right? So then then COVID hit, and COVID was really, I mean, COVID changed a lot of people's lives, right?
Yeah.
We're all aware of that. But COVID, it personally changed my life so much because, like, if you remember that year, like our team was not off to a good start. I guess that would have been your freshman year of college. So you probably, right? Wouldn't that
That
have
was
been?
my senior year. Yeah, because I remember going
Okay.
down to Lincoln
Okay.
for your guys' last game against
That's right.
Columbia.
You guys
Yeah,
missed your entire senior year.
yeah,
Brutal. See, exactly my point.
yeah.
So changed everybody's lives, right? Everybody remembers when the world got shut down, yada, yada, yada. But Gareth Stroh was our Friday guy that year, and he had gone down with some elbow soreness, or something was going on with his elbow. And I was a relief guy at that point because I had rehabbed the entire fall on the first discomfort in my elbow I've ever felt. And so we shut it down that fall and did like a bunch of shoulder, forearm rehab. That's all you can do, right? When you can't throw.
Yeah.
So for the fall, I was shut down. And I mean, I don't ever really talk about it, but I mean, before any surgeries happened, like I was shut down for an entire fall, the fall of 2019. And so then I came back and I was kind of eased into the bullpen role for the first time, but that didn't last long because a couple weeks in, then I got a start at home, did well once Gareth went down, and then so I earned another start that next week. And say say we end up playing the game, okay? Because then that Wednesday, before we were going to Wichita State, the world got shut down. Freaking, I was supposed to pitch the Friday against Kosas and the Shockers in Wichita, and so that was like crushing. And then no one knew what to do. I end up, long story short, end up going to Fremont, in my second outing, third outing, whatever, get like blow my elbow out the first time. And I'm like, so what, dude? Like that's par for the course, right? As a pitcher,
Yeah.
who cares? You might even have 3 years off of baseball. Who knows what? I mean, the world might be
Yeah.
over in a week. Who knows, right? So like not too mad about that, but like just kind of having that sequence the way it did,
Mhm.
it just kind of pissed me off, man. When you
Yeah.
think about it, it's like right, like freshman year, tough, like really tough, experience a lot of adversity on the field and off, like whatever, right? Everybody we talk about freshman year, and then sophomore year felt the strongest I'd ever been. We're like the stars are kind of aligning,
Mhm.
right? Like I just get handed the Friday roll. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't happen. Like that's literally how it went down because Poe was the Saturday guy and they just kept him on schedule. And Colby, I believe, was the Sunday guy at
Mhm.
that time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And so that's like I literally was just silver platter, right? So I was like, damn, that opportunity just got squandered by the damn COVID.
Yeah.
And so you're like, what do you right? And so um so yeah, and so when I came back off that first Tommy John, I had a real chip in my shoulder. Like like if anybody's gonna screw this up, it's gonna be the man in the mirror type, vibe. So yeah, that's kind of where that switch, that bulldog switch kind of came back and I was feeling confident and I feel like I could let it rip and throw all of my pitches for strikes whenever I wanted and like that's where that real confidence comes in. So that's, I guess, the switch that you were talking about,
Yeah.
but that's kind of where it stemmed from, um, and all those uncertainties, and with that team, especially that 2021 team, I really wanted to play with them because we knew how special that group was, and obviously having, I mean, just the year prior, we are crying and over beers because everybody thought that that was it, right?
Mhm.
So it's like coming back, it's a whole new perspective going into that season. And for those upperclassmen who got that second shot that they didn't think that they were going to get,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, it built the character of that team, and I really wanted to be a part of it. So that's where that came from. And then after the second surgery, man, it's all been a blur, man. I just can't believe I'm
Yeah.
still throwing the rock. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to get into that, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. What was kind of just like your mindset going into rehab? It's a long road. You've been through it once before. You know that it's tough. What was kind of your mindset, thought process going through your rehab after the second surgery?
Gosh, I because the first time it's like gotta get back.
Yeah.
I gotta go get out there with those guys, man. Like so the second time it was like, I mean, after it happens, you're battling with one. Is it worth it? Right? Like, is a second one going to be worth it going back? And like at the time, I mean, I was a fourth year senior when I blew my arm out the second time.
Mhm.
So like, guys get 4 years in college. That's the base, right? So like, it's like, well, I'm like, is that it? Right? Um, so that was an interesting thing. But after the surgery, they were able to put the internal brace in. And so that was a shorter period of time, but it's also a longer period before like you start feeling yourself again. So like it was
Yeah.
like it was just such a very mentally tasking second go around because it's like, is it even going to work out?
Yeah.
I just had one literally a year and a half ago. Is it gonna hold up again? Because I've now gotten the feeling of thinking I'm invincible and then feeling my elbow pop on a random Friday in
Mhm.
March. Like come on, dude, not cool. And
Yeah.
um, so yeah, it was kind of like I more so battled the the glass half empty
Mhm.
theory with it all because it was like, dude, these forearm curls are these even going to be worth it, bro?
Mhm.
Like, because the first time around, it's going to work. It's part for the course. Like I said, it's part
Yeah.
for the course for pitchers to go through this process. But for the second time in 2 years, I don't think that's part for the course. I thought you
Yeah.
fast track to the big leagues once you get Tommy
Y-
John, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I mean, Schwelly
no.
did it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. That's how it's supposed to look.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to look. But yeah, it didn't pan out that way. So the second time around, it's like, man, you start really second guessing a lot of the things you're doing. Because
Mhm.
I kicked its ass the first go around, the rehab. I look up and I'm like, oh, I'm able to throw already.
Mhm.
And the second time I was like, dude, when am I gonna get to throw? Am I gonna feel worth a flying hoot. You
Yeah.
know, when I finally picked the ball up again, like, what's the point of this all type mentality? But at the same time, you had to keep going, right?
Hmm.
Because at that point, it's like, okay, now you got a fresh set of guys who are going through rehab. There's some freshmen coming in. It's like you
Hmm.
gotta, and that's kind of where I think I built more so of that kind of leader, that empathetic,
Hmm.
old wise guy, whatever role I was playing in my fifth and sixth year
Hmm.
as a Husker. And that's kind of where that came from. Was just like I felt I felt the high of dogpiling and being a part of it. The high of tag teaming the number one team in the country
Hmm.
with freaking Schwelly. 10 months out of surgery, I've felt those highs, man.
Hmm.
And then it's like this is rock bottom. So it's like, right?
Yeah.
Um and my expectations for that year going into 2022 were high. I mean, I it was me and Shay battling for the Friday spot, which is just
Hmm.
hilarious to look back on. But that, like, I mean, that whole year it had just had such high expectation. Like, I just remember the recruiting class that came in, they were ranked, and those guys were feeling good, very similar to our freshman class, that came in. So and that year just hit the skids quick, and it sucked, and so it's like a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff. But yeah, I think that was a big growth moment and period for me. And yeah, I think I built a shield of armor, if you will, a little bit, mentally and I guess physically, internally.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of how that year shaped up, and I think it kind of helped me out for the years to come.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you kind of talked about, it's just if you surround yourself with the right people and you have good people around you, it makes the journey and the process of getting back so much easier. Just because you're like, these are the guys I'm doing it for. I mean,
No doubt.
I, I mean, you probably were struggling. You were in your own head, is this going to be worth it? But then you're like, I love being around these guys. I want to do what I can to make an impact. So, not sure if that's exactly what you thought or like,
Oh,
that was your
dude,
mindset, but
absolutely. I wouldn't have taken a sixth year of college if
yeah.
I didn't enjoy the guys I was doing it with. I mean, that was about 98% of the reason I came back for
Mhm.
an additional year after the additional year I was just granted. So yeah.
Yeah. What's up, everyone? It's Tristan. Whether I'm recording a podcast, training, or just trying to stay sharp throughout the day, hydration matters. That's why I partnered with Relight by Redmond. My two go-tos are mixed berry and lemon lime. And they have great ingredients, taste great, no problems at all, and just keeps me fresh throughout the entire day. Relight has helped me stay focused, energized, and ready to go, whether I'm hitting the gym, deep into an episode, or just living day-to-day life. They also have a great pre-workout, blueberry lemonade or peach mango, that gets you ready if you need a little extra kick before you hit the gym. And if you want to try Relight for yourself, use the discount code AthletesMindset for 15% off. I'll drop the link in the bio and in the description, and you can get a good taste of what Relight's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, let's transition to the part that I really want to talk about. How did this banana ball opportunity arise?
Well, it was around Thanksgiving time, so very late in the looking back, very late in the banana ball recruiting process, because these guys are looking for new guys to bring on uh like in the summer, when it comes down to getting new talent to Savannah. So obviously didn't know about that. Yeah, and you see these guys on TikTok and all over social media, right? I mean, they're very hard to miss, especially being a baseball guy. You're like, it's baseball related, and there's sometimes they're very cool clips like that will make it viral. But like if you're not following, you see more of the dancing,
Yeah.
right? I feel like you see more of the dancing, the choreography, and all that jazz on social media if you're not a close follower. So I was obviously aware of these guys for the last few years. Poe went and played for them
Mhm.
when they were still in the CPL, and Quinn Mason, to name another, like, and which are two reserved dudes, two naturally reserved guys. Okay, I
Yeah.
don't know if you know Quinn, but Poe, like, I mean, Poe's on the quieter side
Yeah.
of things, right? So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, the coaches are strategically planning this out and sending them to the Bananas to like bust these guys out of their shell so
Yeah.
they come back with more of a personality in the fall. Like that was like, so I got the And I thought that's what the entire like the premise of it was like
Mhm.
what a good system, right? They're a
Yeah.
college team and they get guys that, maybe not, and they just force them to be outgoing.
Yeah.
And then and that's a real developmental skill, right? To bust somebody out of their shell. Um so I thought that's what it all was, but then obviously it grew into this bigger thing, and now it busted out of the CPL and is its own entity now, with Bananaball. Uh, but I mean, I would seldom see it on social media, the actual baseball side of it. So for background, but then so around Thanksgiving time, uh, Coach Childress had texted me a screenshot of an email that he had gotten from our head coach Tyler Gillum here in Savannah. That was like, hey, we're looking for a pitcher for the 2025 tour that checks these boxes X, Y, and Z, yada yada. Like, if you know anybody, let us know. And I think the way it read was definitely like a mass email. He wasn't the only coach that
Yeah.
received it, I guarantee it, right? And so uh, Childress texted me, and he sent me that screenshot. It was like, hey, is it cool if I send your information in? Sure. Not thinking anything of it. Like, didn't even like literally didn't just like, yeah, dude, I guess. Because
Yeah.
it's obviously a mass email. Like,
Yeah.
they're gonna, there's a guy that's on social media really trying to carve a path for Bananaball right now. I guarantee it. Um, and like, not even thinking this would be a possibility. And then later in the week, Tyler Gillum, the coach down here, texts me and says, "Hey, would you be good for a FaceTime call? What, tomorrow or whenever you're free?" And set up a FaceTime call. We talked for an hour, and the entire FaceTime call was like him essentially selling me on the idea of Banana Ball.
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, I don't live under a
Dude,
rock. You
yeah,
guys are
dude,
doing well, man. Like,
just tell me you want
dude,
me to
I
be there
love
and
it.
I'll come. Like, you don't have to
Right?
sell this
Yeah.
to me.
And so
Yeah.
like at the end of it, and I was doing 5 nights a week on the radio with 93.7 The Ticket in Lincoln. Loved it. Was working at the Wave in Waverly. Loved it. I mean, like I was busier than all get out, but loving it, right? And like that's the whole point. And so I was like, yeah, I'll sleep on it. And at the end of the call, he was like, well, hey, if you want to be doing radio instead of playing at Fenway Park, I totally get it. And I was like, oh, so that's what the whole point of this call was?
Yeah.
You want me to come play for you and drop this stuff off for a little bit? Like, yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt. Like, so it was a very like it was just funny because I was not expecting anything out of the call other than like they were probably making all these calls to a lot of people, right? And
Yeah.
so I remember I was at my office at work, and that call ended that way, and saying if I'd rather be doing radio than playing at Fenway Park, he gets it. So it's
Yeah.
like, all right, dude. So then they sent over the contract. I actually slept on that for a night,
Mm.
and then signed it the next day, and just bizarre. And I feel like it's been kind of on a speed track ever since that day.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some things that you show up in Savannah? You show up to your guys' first practice or whatever. What was the like biggest difference, just team wise, and then also just like baseball wise or traditional baseball practice wise to banana ball practice?
So the guys, very cool, very great. That was one of the, because I was like, dude, am I gonna show up and guys are gonna be doing TikToks all over the locker
Just a
room
bunch of
and like just
influencers
like
and
like no
yeah,
one's even gonna have interpersonal connection. Like what's this gonna be,
yeah,
right? And really, I mean, the kind of guy I am. Like that's a very similar bunch of guys. A lot of
mm,
outgoing and enjoyable, entertaining guys that are actually really fun to be around. And there's obviously guys making content all the time and with their cameras and stuff, but it's more so like vlogging
yeah,
is a big thing. Like guys are like always vlogging if they're like doing their content. And then the TikTok dances will come. Like you see guys filming TikToks every now and then, but it's not like
yeah,
a constant thing. So that was kind of like my first stereotypical. What do I think this is going to be like? That was kind of busted. So that was really cool. All the guys really down to earth, I feel like, and when you really sit back and now that I've gotten to meet a lot of the guys and you think about it, it's like, well, all these guys had their big league dreams busted
mhm,
whenever it happened down the road. Um, and and so it's like these guys all, I mean, whatever egos are there, Like you got to drop them off at the door, dude. You know what I mean? So that's a really common trait that I feel like all of us have down here is like everyone gets it.
Mhm.
Everyone gets it. But now here we are in a position where we're playing at these stadiums. I mean, you go out and it looks like a World Series game when you're at Truist Park. And when we're playing at Raymond James in Tampa and it's 65,000 deep, like so it's just a bunch of guys in awe trying to enjoy themselves and and play ball and be entertaining and enjoy it with the fans. And
Mhm.
that's the coolest part. It's just the melting pot of guys here. It's perfection. It's magic. It really
Yeah.
is. It's crazy. So the experience has been nothing but enjoyable, but different to baseball and all of our baseball experiences. I'd say you mix in your picks and rundowns, right? Like those times in practice, and instead you're doing ball four sprints. Because if you walk a guy, everybody's got to converge around.
Yeah.
Like they're talking formations and like what's the quickest uh lanes to go through when everyone's touching the ball and you got to come in full sprint like so it's wild.
Yeah.
Right. So like you kind of sub those things in. So there's a lot of baseball still being had. It's just baseball in a different way, man. And so ground balls, double barrel fungos happens every day, right? You can see the scene in your head. You've seen it 1,000 times, right? And you got the coaches at home plate hitting the double barrel fungos, but instead guys are just doing trick plays
Yeah.
and going between their legs, dribbling like a freaking basketball and making plays to first or turning two up the middle. And it's like that's where it's different. Fungos, pop up comms. We do pop up comms, right? But instead of freaking, two hands, it's
Yeah.
some dude doing a freaking backflip and catching
Yeah.
it, right? Or some dude barehanding it and then dancing. It's wild. So like that's what is different with the baseball. And then BP's BP. Those guys hit BP. So it's like a very traditional baseball setup. And then if you're not paying attention, you'd think a regular baseball practice was happening, right? But instead, everyone's doing trick plays, and you
Yeah.
get the deal, right? Um, Very talented guys out here. And then bullpens happen, like pitchers do their bullpens and all their throwing. So it's very baseball, dude. It's very baseball. And then at the end, then the entertainment team comes in, and then we go through whatever entertainment and celebrations, because that's really where it's scripted, right? Is
Yeah.
like the entertainment stuff that's like going to happen in the game. You just don't know when,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, hey, this could be the first inning, this could be the eighth inning, but when we score a run and we officially walk off an inning, this is going to be our celebration at home plate or wherever, and we bring on the choreography and you master the dance. So then when it comes to the time in the game, you got the dance down. And I make it sound easy, but it's not easy, dude. It's
I
so
wouldn't think
freaking
it's
hard.
easy.
It's
Yeah.
so like I can't dance worth a hoot either, which was
Yeah.
never really even part of the like. I don't even think that was asked in our FaceTime call. But yeah, I think it's fun. It's
Yeah.
very fun. I mean, obviously it sounds fun, but boy, those dances can get frustrating though.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine just being on the mound for one. I mean, as a position player, I can't imagine being in the field like, all right, what do I got to do if the guy hits the ball to me? Where am I going next? But then something happens, we get a strikeout, and I got to break out into a jig. I got to be focused
Right.
on that too. That's a lot on your plate. You got to make a play and you got to be prepared. So,
Right.
yeah,
Well, as a pitcher, dude, it's you got to have these strikeout celebrations
yeah,
ready. That's the thing. But then it's like as a pitcher, your mentality, you want to go and you want to force contact. You're not expecting to strike guys out in banana ball. At least I'm
yeah,
not. I'm not going out K hunting ever,
yeah,
really. Um, and if you ever get in that mode, I feel like it can only go south for you in banana
yeah,
ball because then you try to get too fine. And these guys are good hitters, man. They walk up with an approach, and they're not going to swing at stuff they don't want to hit.
yeah.
Very basic stuff, but it's like, dude, like a lot of these guys played pro ball, mind you. I mean,
Mhm,
Jake Skull, I think he's been in the two hole for the party animals all year.
mhm.
Dude, hell, he was the 15th overall pick in the 2010 draft.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
the year Harper was 1-1. I mean,
Yeah,
dude, like what? The guy
you
goes
gotta
and he
face. You gotta
plays.
face this guy.
Yeah, he goes and he plays 7 years of minor league ball. It didn't pan out on the baseball side of things, but he was the 15th overall pick. I mean, the Christian Yelich was picked after him. Uh, Shoot, you can go down multiple All Stars. Freaking Yohan Moncada, uh, Yasmani Grandal.
Mhm.
Dudes were picked after this guy that like everybody knows, right? And this guy's here playing banana ball. He played 7 years in the minors. He goes and he plays 4 years of football at the University of Georgia. Have you heard of him? Yeah, yeah. Go
Yeah.
Dogs! And then he comes here.
That's
I mean, the
crazy.
guy's a unit. The guy's an
Yeah.
absolute athlete, and he's freaking out here crushing balls, hitting like 340, and the pitchers are competing, and you're supposed to. You're telling me you got to entertain and face dudes like that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be in your mind on like, all right, how am I gonna not let this guy hit a home run off me? And then it's
Exactly. So
like
you
I
got to
also
be
have to,
smart.
yeah,
You got to throw down with them, and then you got to be ready to do a jig, like you
yeah,
said. Like, dude, like you freaking you straight like so. I've had a few strikeouts since I've been here, but like every strikeout's the same deal.
Mhm.
You'll throw it and they'll either look at it or swing and miss, and you're like, oh, let's break into jelly legs or something. Like
Yeah,
what do you do? What do you do? Like when you're not expecting to strike a dude out, it's a total mentality change from like striking a dude out, expecting it to happen,
yeah,
and getting fired up, pounding your chest, MF and the guy as he walks back to the dugout or whatever you do,
Mhm.
right? And in the game of baseball too, that's right. I'm gonna go into freaking jelly legs
yeah,
and whatever dance comes to mind at the time. So
yeah,
that's where it's like it's different than anything you've ever done, and I, I'm learning every day. Let's just say
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's got to be kind of tough though. Is I mean, one, you're a competitor, like you're not trying to strike out guys. When the ball's in play, the fans are probably enjoying it a little bit more. They get to see the fielders do some fun action. So, are you like just trying to like barely hit barrels? Like,
I'm
sure,
trying to
this
throw
guy can make,
strikes.
yeah, this guy can make contact, but I'm not going to throw in a
Yeah,
place where he can hit it 500 feet.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. The mentality of attacking them is get ahead is the biggest thing. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously,
Yeah,
it's freaking pitching.
that
Like
doesn't
you need to
change.
get ahead.
Yeah.
It doesn't change, but my big thing, like get it fast, like let high tempo. So like when you don't get ahead, it's really tough because like
Hmm.
you got to work fast, but then you also got to work smart.
Hmm.
So then and then walks though and banana ball are total killers.
Hmm.
So like that's your incentive to throw strikes as well because it's the ball for a sprint. And there are times if those guys get out of the box, it's gonna be like it serves as a double,
Yeah.
essentially. And like if there's a guy on second and you walk a guy, he's scoring.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's like there's no reality where the guy on second doesn't score.
Hmm.
So it's just like they're killers. They're absolute killers. And so the mentality there is like you got to kind of play the game. Like you got to get ahead, but you can't be stupid. And you want to pitch to soft contact, but like it's ball, dude. Like that, like the
Yeah.
goal is for them to hit the freaking ball, and so like you get beat a lot.
Hmm.
Um, but it's nice when you don't get beat. I will say. But everyone's competing, so
Hmm.
that side of, like those guys, they don't care who's out on the mound. Like it's that same sort of mentality, right? But pitching's really tough, banana ball, because you gotta, like I said, keep that engagement, that entertainment side of things, but at the same time, you got to buckle down and do your job. So
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, what's your favorite part of Bananaball? If you could just say one thing, what's your favorite part of it all?
No doubt. I mean, it's cliche, but the fans, dude, these people go crazy for this stuff. And I don't care. Like I mean, I'm obviously a first year guy. No one knows my name. None of the fans know my name. And but you wear the jersey around, you go up to the upper levels of whatever stadium you're at, and you go out of or you walk out of the elevator, you're like a freaking you're royalty, dude.
You're a
It's
celebrity
the
up there.
coolest thing.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing. And like it gets super overstimulating. I mean, that's the name of the game here, bro. Is just overstimulation. Like you better get used to it.
Mhm.
We were at Truist this past weekend, dude, and it was like I got up to the upper levels to throw out Dunkin' Donuts
Yeah.
into the stands. So everybody got their hands on donuts. That's a fun gig too, because I can just shoot them out,
Yeah.
into the stands and people go nuts. And it's cool because like if you're at Truist, like, you ever gonna be up in the 300 bowl and oh, there's Schwellenbach,
Yeah. No.
like oh,
Yeah.
there's Acuna. No, Like that doesn't happen at,
Yeah.
and so like that's what can separate. Like you can do whatever. Like say you're not playing a game, go out to the chop house and go mingle, go make
Yeah.
fans. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So it's like that freedom of getting to do that and really interact and impact the people you meet, because that's the mindset you got to go to. Is like if I were a fan at this game up in the 400 level and a dude in a uniform who's on the roster
Yeah.
comes up and starts hanging out, like what? It's just a total flabbergastation or something, you know? Like it's just like what's going on? So that's where I find a lot of the enjoyment is doing things that are so outside of the normal realm of being at a sporting event, and because we've obviously been to a lot of them,
Mhm.
and just understanding what the fans don't get to see at those normal sporting events and doing the exact opposite. And that is the coolest part, I think, that I've really enjoyed and look forward to each and every time we put on a show, is to go do those sort of things. So,
Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't even like think about that as part of the experience. Most people think of Bananaball and they just think like the players are on the field, they're playing
yeah,
baseball, but they're also, creating some entertainment. But like how sick would it be if you go to a big league game and you look over and it's just this guy is supposed to be down, like Garrett Cole isn't throwing
yeah,
today, or Spencer
yeah,
Schwellenbach's not throwing today. They're just coming and sitting next to me in the stands. That's got to be
crazy,
pretty awesome. Yeah.
crazy. And I think I mean, when it comes to the rules, man, and integrating those into baseball, to have those conversations, I think is so incredibly cool to like
Mhm.
hear like MLB considering the golden batter rule. It's not going to happen. None of
No.
the players want that to happen, right? None of the players want Otani to strike out in the bottom of the ninth and then, oh, Dave Roberts, hey, turn around Otani, take another AB. No one wants to see that.
Yeah. No.
That would suck. Um, but just for the consideration for those
Mhm.
ideas to be tossed around is just mind-boggling, right?
Yeah.
And I hope the rules stay
Separate.
separated for the most
Yeah.
part, right? But just for that, like, I mean, because it what it means is like the attention is there,
Hmm.
that people have noticed that this is freaking entertaining.
Hmm.
Like this is, I mean, say what you want, it's entertaining, and and so like I mean, a 2 hour clock, 2 hour game clock every game. Like that's how long the game is. If it doesn't go to extras, and our extra innings are called showdowns,
Hmm.
where you have the pitcher, the hitter, the catcher, the umpire, and then one position guy, like within the grass of the infield.
Yeah.
And then the guy hits in the outfield, the position guy takes off and he goes around the
Oh
bags and try.
gosh, I didn't even know
I mean
that.
that like that's probably the coolest thing, dude. You
Yeah.
gotta witness it. It's amazing. But that's what like you do in extra innings, and then if it happens again, like double OT,
Hmm.
the position guy is out of the picture now. Now it's just a
So the
pitcher, catcher,
pitcher has
hitter.
to
Yeah,
run and go get
yeah.
wherever the ball's hit. Wow.
Incredible. Dude, it is so much fun. It is, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
like it's when you've seen enough ball, you appreciate the game of baseball, and you come and you see this, like you really are at the end of it, you tip your cap. You
Yeah.
know, it's fun. It is fun, it's entertaining, it's impressive. And so all that and being able to appreciate the product on the field as well as getting to do the things we get to do each time we put on a show, I think that's just it's a blend of greatness.
Yeah. I got to ask a really important question. Is Bananaball going to be at Memorial Stadium?
I really hope so. I really hope so. I I think Nebraska is such an untapped
Hmm.
fan market. I mean, people are clueless
Hmm.
in Nebraska about what we're doing down here. Frankly,
Hmm.
I mean, I would love nothing more for the state to see what this show is.
Yeah.
So, in any form memorial, that would be stupid sick.
Hmm.
Um,
How do you
but
guys fit it into Raymond James? What was kind of the like dimensions?
right field was like, dude, I could pull it up. I could pull the dimensions. It's crazy. There were
Hmm.
two pumps. Right field was softball. Okay, Derek
Okay.
Dietrich showed up. You know Derek Dietrich,
Yeah.
freaking yeah. So he works front office now with the Yankees, and their field was literally across the street. Their spring training park, now where the Rays are playing, literally
Yeah.
right across the street. And so he came over and started hitting BP, and dude, just flick. Like literally, you didn't have to hit the ball hard to get it over right field. You literally just had to
Yeah.
get it over the wall,
Mhm.
which was just super high. Just like
Yeah.
Green Monster brought in 110 feet or so.
Yeah.
So that's how that worked. And then center was probably the easiest place to hit the ball out because you hit a well struck line drive,
Yeah.
it's gonna leave like dead central. But then it's like left center was Polo Grounds esque,
Yeah.
and then left field I think was like 350. So it was a shot out to left.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to give and take, right? I mean, it's a football field. It's a football field. It's not meant
Yeah.
to house a baseball stadium. But um, it worked out. 2 home runs hit the whole night. People thought they were gonna hit 16. Like,
Yeah.
so
I mean,
that's just
probably
kind of like
every hitter was probably trying to hit a home run, and when you
probably
try to hit a home run, you don't hit home runs.
you don't. But it
Yeah.
worked out. It worked out,
Yeah.
and it was an incredible show. 65,000 there.
That's
Like you can't.
unreal.
And we're gonna do Clemson. That's 81,000 coming up. Like,
Mhm.
yeah. So why not Nebraska? I
Yeah,
would
you
love
guys
that.
got to get to Memorial Stadium.
I
The
would love that.
people in Nebraska love if there's any excuse to get into Memorial Stadium for a sporting event, they're there. Like it's gonna get sold out. Like that would
That's my
be
biggest thing.
yeah.
That's my biggest pitch is, hey, 3 game set.
Mhm.
What is that? 270,000.
Yeah.
They would sell. They would
Yeah.
sell.
They would sell. I mean,
I mean,
I'd be down there. I mean, it's a 40-minute drive. Like I'm down there in a heartbeat. That'd be
and for
such a
one of the
just a
better,
cool atmosphere.
yep, and for one of the better shows, field level and the crowd. I mean, one of the best experiences I think anybody would ever have.
Yeah. I
So
think you
I
need
think I
to
would
keep
be a.
harping on that. I think you need to keep pushing that.
I'll see what I can do, bro, and
Yeah.
hopefully we end out on the right side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to end every conversation with the same question. There was one thing you could tell your younger self just about the mental side of the game and just, going through the adversity, what would it be?
Oh, dude, that's good. That's good, Tristan. Um, my younger self, just like as a ball player, man, it'd be cliche to say trust the process because like the process is all that will ever be. So it's like, um, I don't know. I'd say classic, like just keep pushing, just keep coming, dude. Like I don't know. I think that'd be the best thing. Like people, you can knock down somebody as many times as you want, but if they keep getting up, I mean, it's talked about all the time. But I mean, if you just keep getting up, I mean, it's hard to stop somebody like that. So
Mhm.
I'd probably say that. Keep coming, baby.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Well, Kyle, thank you for coming on. This was a pleasure, and I hope more people will start checking out Bananaball.
no doubt, dude. Tristan, you're the man.
Yes,
Tell your
sir.
folks hi for me.
Will
Appreciate you
do.
always, brother.
Yes, sir. See you, Kyle.
Bye, dog. See ya.
Thank you again to Kyle for sharing his journey and insight into the mental side of the game. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might find it valuable. Thanks for tuning in and keep moving forward. Until next time.